So welcome to today's session for SQL Joins Part 2. In this particular session, we will be solving these three problems based on the SQL Joins. So as I have said earlier, I will be sharing the query to create these three tables and insert the data in the description of the videos so that you can refer those queries and practice on your own. So let us start with the question number 1 for today. Write a query to print cities where all purchases have unique purchase amount. So we are talking about cities and we are talking about purchases. Cities we will get from customers table. As you can see, this is city column in the customers table. Second table that we need is purchases. So purchases has got purchase amount. Okay. There is no relevance of complaints table in this particular query. So there will be a join on these two tables, customers and purchases. So first thing is very clear that we want to print cities. So in order to print these cities, we will have to group by city. That is very clear. Second thing is also very obvious that if you are talking about these two tables, then we have got customer ID column which is common in these two tables. So there will be the inner join between these two tables that will give us the common values between these two tables. Now the most important part of this question is print cities where all purchases have unique purchase amount, no duplicate amounts. What does that mean? Let us understand this with the help of an example. If we consider city Delhi, Delhi has customer ID 1. Okay. Now, if you have a look at this table, purchases, we can see this is customer ID 1 and this is relevant to purchase ID 101 and 102. Now, what does it mean to have unique purchase amount? Let's say this amount is 6999. If let's say this amount is also 6999, then there is no unique purchase count for city Delhi. It will be excluded and will not be printed. We want all unique purchase amounts. Okay, so this is how we will calculate. But the most important part is how will we write the logic for this? Think about it for a moment and I will tell you what should be the logic for this question. So in order to create this query, the first thing that we will do is we will do group by basis of cities. Second thing, as I said, we will be joining on the basis of customer ID. And third thing that we will do is we will put a condition at the end. That condition is for the respective city, total number of transactions should be equal to total number of distinct transactions. Now, what does this mean? Let us try to understand this with the help of an example. Let us consider city Delhi. City Delhi has, let's say, three purchase amounts. Purchase amount 1 is 200, purchase amount 2 is 300, and purchase amount 3 is also 300. So there are two 300 transaction, one 200 transaction. Now tell me one thing. For this particular Delhi's case that we are talking about, what is the total number of transaction? 3. What is the total number of distinct transaction? 2, right? Because there are 300 is twice, right? That means this condition will satisfy for Delhi or not? It will not be satisfied and Delhi will not be considered. So this is the condition we will be applying in order to solve this query. So now let us start creating this query based on the logic we discussed and finish this. So first of all, we'll say select and we need to print city. So I'll say select city from the first table is customers. So I'll say customers C. Okay. So I'll say this is C dot city. So I'll say this is C dot city. Then we need inner join because we want only matching values between the two tables. So inner join on the purchase table. So I'll say purchases P on. As I told you earlier, there will be a join based on the column customer ID. So it should be C dot customer ID is equal to P dot customer ID. Now the next thing that we need to do is group by. So you tell me group by based on what? So we will be doing the group by on the basis of city column. So I'll just say group by C dot city. Okay. As I said, at the end we will have to put one more condition. So we will be using having clause, and within the having clause we will say that, and as I said at the end we'll have to add one more condition that total purchase count should be equal to distinct. So we will say having count of P dot purchase underscore amount should be equal to the count of distinct purchase amount in the same table. So we will say count bracket distinct. So this is distinct, again bracket, and then we will say p dot purchase underscore amount. Let's close this bracket, put the semicolon, and if we run this query, then let us see what is the output that we are getting. Okay, so if I run this query, and if we see the total count is 24, so there are total 25 cities. Out of those, 24 are fine, only one city has got duplicate, that which is not included in this. Okay, so this is how we can create a query for cities where all purchases have unique purchase amount. So now let us start with the next question, and that is write a query to print product categories where all 5 complaint types occurred at least once. First question that we have is which tables are involved in order to create this query. Print product categories. Where do we get product categories? Product categories we have in this particular purchases table. Okay, if you see, this purchases table has got product category, and then we have all 5 complaint types. So where do we get complaint type? In the complaints table. That means table purchases and complete, these two tables are relevant. Customers is not relevant for this particular question, so we will be focusing on these two tables. That is the fundamental thing that we need to understand. Second thing is we need a query to print product categories where all 5 complaint types occurred at least once. So we have to print product category. That means we will do group by on the basis of product category. That is also clear. Second thing that we need to think about is there will be a join between these two tables, and based on which column, you tell me. Just by looking at these two tables, we can clearly see that purchase ID is the column on the basis of which there will be a join between these two tables. So let us try to understand this with the help of an example. Let us consider electronics as product category. If you have a look at this electronics product category, it has got purchase ID 101, 104 and 105. These purchase ID we will check in the complaint table. 101 damaged product, 104 wrong item, then 105 is also, let us say, there. Like this we will see if all the 5 complaint types are there. So in short, what we will do is for the respective product category, the distinct complaint type should be equal to 5. If the distinct count is 5, that means all 5 complaint types have occurred at least once. If it is less than 5, that means all 5 are not covered. So let us make this query and understand this. So as we all know, we need to group by on the basis of product category. So we will say select product category from purchases. So I'll say purchases P, and let us say this is P dot product category. Then we need inner join. So I'll say inner join to the complaints table. So I'll say complaints C on. So we have to put the join. So we have to put the join on the basis of purchase ID. So I'll say C dot purchase ID is equal to P dot purchase, sorry, P dot purchase ID. Okay. Now the next thing that we need is we need to do the group by. So I have already told you that we need to group by on the basis of product category. So I'll say P dot product category. Okay. Now one last thing is pending, and that is we have to put a condition. So after group by, we will be making use of the having clause. So let's say having. Now we need to put one last condition, and that is count of distinct complaint type for the respective product category should be equal to 5. How do we do that? Having count of distinct C dot complaint type is equal to 5. Now if we run this query, let us see the output. Yeah, we can see that books and electronics are the two categories where the distinct complaint type is 5. That means all 5 complaint type occurred at least once for these two product categories. Okay. So now let us start with the last question for today. Write a query to find cities where not even a single purchase has a complaint. Now this is a little more complex as compared to the previous two. In this particular question, we are talking about cities, which is in the customers table. Then we are talking about purchases, which is in the purchases table. Then we are talking about complaint, which is in the complaints table. That means all the three tables are relevant in order to make a query. Customers table and the purchase table will be joined on the basis of customer ID, which is present in both the tables, and there will be inner join that will give us the matching rows between the two tables. Then we will be using a join between these two tables, which are purchases and complaint, and we will join these two tables on the basis of purchase ID, which is a common column between these two tables. The real question is which join we will use, inner join or left join. So you need to understand that we need to find the cities where the complaints are zero. Okay, and how do we get the complaint zero? So if we join these two tables, we need to make use of the left join. What will left join do? If the purchase ID matches, it gives us the count, but if the purchase ID doesn't match, it gives us null. So if let's say there is a city which has got all the null in the complaint type, that is the city that we want, because we want the cities where not even a single purchase has a complaint. So that is why we cannot exclude null values. And where do we get null values and how do we get null values? Null values we will be able to get only through the left join. Left join will give us all the rows from the left table and the matching ones from the right, but the other non-matching would be null. Okay, and if there is a city which has got all null values for the complaint time, then that is the output that we need. You will understand this better when we run this query. Okay, so let us get started. So first of all, what we will do is select, we want to find cities, so we will say city from customers. So we will say customers, let us call this customers as city. Then we need inner join with inner join, then we need inner join on the purchases table. So I'll say purchases P on, as I said earlier, we will be joining these two tables on the basis of customer ID. So I'll just say that city dot customer underscore ID is equal to P dot customer underscore ID. Okay, I need to put on keyword here. Okay, and then we need another join, and that is left join. As I said, left join on the complaints table. So I'll say complaints, and let us call this as C on. And now for this left join, on the left hand side we will be having the purchase table. So we will say that P dot purchase underscore ID is equal to, then we need C dot purchase underscore ID, and this join is applied. So now the next thing that we need is group by. So I'll say group by city. Okay, city is coming from which table? Customer. So I'll just say that city dot city, and then again here also we will do the same thing, city dot city. Okay, the next thing that we need is the condition. The condition is that, as I said, the count should be 0 for complaint type. So in short, we need to make use of the having clause, that complaint count of complaint type should be equal to 0. So having count of C dot complaint underscore type should be equal to 0. Okay, now if I run this query, let us see what is the output. The output is Kochi. So Kochi is the only one city where the complaint type count is 0. So make sure that you practice these queries. The more you practice, easier you will find it to solve. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end.